Okay, now, Assalamualaikum, hi students. Now we have a look at the lessons or functions involving partial fractions. Okay, for example, if we have a function like this, we take the first example from your notes. Right over here you have this kind of function where, if you can see here, we have function at the bottom of the function at the bottom of the denominator. We have in terms of factors. Before this, we have a quadratic functions that cannot be factorized, so that we have to make it complete square form for denominator. Whatever functions at denominator, we don't care about the functions at numerator. So we just look at the denominator, how the function look like. Okay, so now we don't have formula for these functions to be inversed, so we need to modify this function into what we call partial fractions. This one, partial fractions, you have learned it before this when you do your calculus. You did your calculus one. Okay, so we review a little bit the partial fractions. So for example, if you have functions like this, actually there are three types. Three types of fractions. The three type of factors at denominator. So for this example, we have what we call linear factors. So the power of s is 1, so we call it linear. So when we have linear factors, so what do we need to modify this fraction? It will becomes a over s plus 3 plus b over s minus 2. Okay, I believe you have remembered this. You have you remember this one, and then we have second factors, repeated factors. This is review, students, so you should know this by now. I hope you can recall. Okay, repeated factors. For example, if we have things like this, function like this, the factors involving repeated factors. For example, if we have this, okay, we have repeated factors for s minus 2. We have two factors over here for s minus 2. So what do? We change into as plus 3, and then at the top of the s minus 2 square, we have b over s minus 2, and we have plus c over s minus 2 square. So make sure this is the power square. The power, if we have power square over here, so we need to do like this, s minus 2 power 1, and then s minus 2. So if we have s minus 2 power 3, that means s minus 2 square, and plus d over s minus 2 cube. Okay, so number 3, we have quadratic factors. So quadratic factors, for example, if we have 1 over s plus 3, and then we have quadratic kind of functions. See, the s is power 2 s square, so this is quadratics. One of the factors is in terms of quadratic. So we have a over s plus 3. So as you can remember, we can plus, so at the top of the s square minus 2 will have bs plus c over s square minus 2. Okay, so we need to change all these fractions in terms of partial fractions. Partially, this is called partial fractions. We transform into partially that fractions. Original we have this, and then we have a partial fractions like this. So let's have a look at how do we inverse Laplace for the first example. Okay, so now we have a Laplace inverse of 1 over s plus 3 s minus 2. What happened? So can't you see this is fractions where denominator involving linear factors. So we need to modify because we don't have the inverse of this kind of fractions. So we need to modify this. So what we do, we just take out the functions first.